Hey everybody, welcome to our early comic review video. I'm Andy.
I'm Matt.
We're here with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and this is our big show where we show you some of the biggest and best books that are releasing this week to your local comic book store. If you shop with us in store here at Infinity Flux or online at infinityflux.net, you can find it all there while supplies last. This is a very interesting week worth of books because this is a fifth Wednesday of the month that usually is set aside in the comic world for things like annuals, for one-shots, specials, that kind of thing. You'll get the occasional, that's mostly with like Marvel and DC. You will get continuations with some of the more indie publishers, but you won't see as many like big number ones and everything on these.
You're not going to have the start of a big event on a fifth Wednesday of the month.
Right.
Usually a little bit lighter.
But I feel like that was more true years ago. Now we're still getting some big stuff on fifth Wednesdays.
Yeah.
It might be a little lighter for your almost like your checkbook.
A few years ago, we probably wouldn't have even had enough to fill our top 10 show.
Yeah.
But now there's still tons to talk about.
So let's get right into it with the one everyone is going to be talking about and everyone's waiting for.
Yep. We are going to start with the Absolute Batman Annual for this year. Now, this issue is made up of 2 actual stories and then a little bit of a bonus thing at the end.
A little 2-page fun thing.
Yeah, a little 2-page thing. But the first story, the main story, the longest story, is the one that everybody will be talking about for sure. The second one's good too, but the first one's the big one. Written and drawn by Daniel Warren Johnson. The man. Like, he is just the man.
Who has become one of the most desired artists and writers now in comics.
Yeah. So, this story is all about, well, it's set actually in Batman and Absolute Batman's, like, early days. Like, before even Absolute Batman issue number 1. This is back when he was kind of sort of just starting out.
He was a mere 9 feet tall and 500 pounds.
We see him, going driving out of Gotham to this guy and buying all these weapons that he's making sure they're non-lethal weapons because he's building up his arsenal, right? Yeah. He's still starting out as Batman. He's building up his arsenal. And as he drives to this place, it's called Slaughter Swamp. As he goes to the place...
Which we know Slaughter Swamp.
Oh, that's
Solomon Grundy's.
Oh, shoot. I didn't even put that together. Yeah. Wow. I was thinking...
You're thinking Swamp Things.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe Swamp Thing or the swamp that Killer Croc was staying in the Poison Ivy book.
Are they all the same thing?
I don't know. But
anyways, it's a recognizable swamp.
I didn't even make the connection. My bad. So on the way there, he passes this abandoned construction site, and he sees that it's full of tents and people living in those tents. So the guy he buys the weapons from, he asks him, "What happened over there? Why is it all abandoned?" And the guy tells him, this big corporation came in and they made all these big promises, and then 3 months after they started construction, they just packed up and went home, basically, with no explanation why, and they left it. It's like they were building a big skyscraper or something.
Yeah, and they left all of their machines and tools and everything.
They just basically just like left one day, and so all of the people that were working for them, they left them behind as well, and so a lot of the people had no place to go, and they're living in tents. Now, you'll notice when you read this book that, some of the people working were immigrants, right? They're not all like natural U.S. born citizens, right? And that does play into the story, as you can tell by seeing the cover here. So while he's talking to this man who's selling these weapons, Bruce sees these guys sort of harassing this woman and her son, and they're angry because the woman and her son are not speaking English. And so Bruce goes and puts a stop to that, and I don't want to really go too much down the road of the story because this is a story, especially with Daniel Warren Johnson on art, this is a story that you need to experience as you're turning each page, right? So I don't want to get too down in the weeds of what the story is about, but I will say, if you look at that cover, that is a pretty good indication of what this story is about, with all of the familiar trappings of Daniel Warren Johnson. Big action, big impacts, big sound effects.
Yeah, big. You turn the page and it's just like, whoa, which is awesome. And of course, what this was touted as.
Yeah, this story shows us how Batman got his big dump truck Batmobile, which is pretty cool. And I had actually forgotten about that. And then until I saw the part in the story, I was like, oh yeah, that's really cool. So and I
Yeah.
sort of like went back and was looking at a couple things again. So we learned that much as well.
Before he paints it black to make it really stealth.
Yeah, right, right. So yeah, so this is Batman basically going to town on a bunch of not so nice people is what it is. And you know, I can see some people not being happy with this story. I loved it, and I
Yeah.
know you loved it, and I know a lot of people will love it, and I know that certain people won't love it, but it is what it is, and this is the story that they're telling in this. But I will say too that this story is a bit more nuanced, though, than Batman just going through and beating up a bunch of bigots. There is sort of a deeper message, a deeper meaning, and
There's a supporting character that definitely gets to Batman's core and makes him
yeah,
think about what he's doing.
yeah, you
That I thought
know,
was a really, it's not just see Batman how hard he can punch. There's someone there to maybe, make Batman question how far he will go in his vengeance.
yeah. I mean, we're seeing Batman beat up a bunch of not so great people, but it's not all, it's not what some people will think it is as, rah rah, hooray, Batman's beating up all these awful people. No, there's more to it, and
Yeah.
you have to see sort of the aftermath of it. You have to see the conversation that Batman has with this other character and what this other character thinks of what he's doing. There's just again, not trying to spoil anything, but you do need to read the whole thing to really understand what they're trying to tell you
Yeah.
here. It's deeper than what you see on the cover here. It's not this surface level.
Hmm.
There's more to it than that. Um,
But I mean, the art in this is
oh,
incredible.
man.
I would love for Daniel Warren Johnson to be on an absolute book. I
Yeah,
don't know
oh my
what
gosh.
it would be or whatever, because once I saw this, I was like, can we have two absolute books, one with Nick Dragotta and one with
Yeah,
Daniel Warren
right.
Johnson? Can we have absolute detective comics
Yeah,
and then
or like,
absolute Batman running
or who's another
simultaneously?
big, like beefy character?
I don't know. He would do great with any of them,
Gosh, can you
but
imagine him drawing Absolute Bane? Like if he had drawn the
yeah.
Abomination story, like holy cow.
Yeah, this was great, and it's him at his peak
Oh yeah,
action.
he's just raising the bar
Yeah.
for what you can do. Now there is a second story called Sanctuary that's written and drawn by James Herron, who might be doing the upcoming Demon book.
Yeah.
We don't know that for sure. That's not been confirmed, but that is sort of the rumor and sort of the feeling right now. But it's a really cool story too that's set around the time of the first story arc because it deals with some of Black Mask's gang.
Hmm.
And I think they've already had one encounter with Batman. They mentioned something about we're not going to lose twice tonight or something like
Yeah.
that. And so it shows them kind of holding up in a church and preparing for Batman's inevitable arrival to
Mm.
take them out. But there's also a little bit of a father son subplot to that story too. That as a dad myself, actually kind of got to me a little bit. Like I thought it was
Hopefully, you don't relate to those characters too much.
no. But no, it was the father son thing though. That just the fact that the father knew his son was doing not so great things and was still loving towards him.
Yeah.
Like I understand that much of it. So yeah, so there's that part too, and then the last couple of pages are from Meredith McLaren, and there's actually some like fun little useful facts about bats.
And kind of you see how they relate to
Yeah,
Batman.
yeah, it's set against the backdrop of some in-world social media posts about Batman, which is pretty cool. But yeah, this issue is phenomenal. If you are an absolute Batman fan, get this.
Yeah.
I did have somebody ask me on one of my TikTok videos if you haven't been reading Absolute Batman, can you read this? And I will say the answer is yes.
Yeah.
But there is something. Well, we already talked about it, but there's something in here that you won't understand the significance of if you haven't been reading Absolute Batman. But if you want to try it out, don't let that stop you. If you haven't been reading Absolute Batman, you can still read this.
Yeah.
So go ahead and grab it. It's a phenomenal story. Daniel Warren Johnson just always doing like the big cool action and
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
Way to make an annual that is like a must-buy annual.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, I'm reading the series, but I'm going to skip the annual. Get the annual.
Get the annual.
You will not regret getting it. It is awesome.
And it is completely disconnected from what's going on in the main title right now
Yeah,
as well.
it's
So
both the stories in it take place at
earlier
times
Yeah.
within this run, or even before it a little
Yeah.
bit.
So if I don't know why you would want to skip it, but
Yeah.
if you did, you wouldn't miss out on like the Abomination story, and it's they're totally separate.
Yeah.
But it's just really really good. It's a visual feast. It's a good story. Yeah,
Yeah.
highly recommended.
It continues the high bar of the Absolute Universe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know. Somebody asked too if they're going to do other annuals for the other Absolute books, and I don't think so.
Yeah, I think we
Not
would
this year anyway. We would have heard about it by now.
Well, yeah, because Absolute Batman started this year, didn't it? Did it start?
No, I don't, it started last November, October, didn't it?
I don't know.
Because we're on issue 13, which means it started 13 months ago.
It started first.
Right.
So I wonder if maybe we'll have one next year for like Superman and Wonder Woman.
Maybe, yeah.
If that would mean 1 year of their books.
But they announced this it wasn't just an FOC thing. They announced this months ahead of time, and they haven't done that for Superman or Wonder Woman. So I'm not sure.
Let's be honest, the annual thing, they kind of pick and choose when they want to release them. It's not on an anniversary.
Yeah, it's not a...
It's kind of a fun... It's a fun way of having a giant sized book for a series come out.
They just do it as needed. You know? But highly recommended. Absolute Batman fans, do not miss this, please, because you will love it. So there is our A cover from Mr. Daniel Warren Johnson. We have this really cool Nick Dragotta.
Yeah.
And there's your big old Batmobile right there. This is the...
I have so many questions about the logistics of the Batmobile.
Yeah, right.
Maybe we'll get that in annual 2.
This is your James Herron variant cover. And now that I've read that story, I'm like, maybe I would have liked to get this cover, but this one's cool too. And then we have this... shoot, is this the 1 in 25, I think?
I believe so.
1 in 25 cover from... Oh, it's right. Yeah, 125. Meredith McLaren, who does that last bit at the end. We're selling this one for $19.99, and this is actually the only variant cover. Not that just we have, or the only incentive that exists. Or there's some store exclusives, but like it's not that this is the only one we have. This is the only one that there is, which is pretty crazy to me.
Yeah, and I commend DC for not. They could have easily have overstuffed, been like, there's a 1 in 1,000 because it's an annual and stuff. It's like, nope. It's pretty easy if you want to get every cover of this to acquire every cover.
Yeah, there's no 1 in 10s, no 1 in 50s, no 1 in 100s, no nothing like that. It's just this one. And like I said, the store exclusives as well, which we obviously don't have, but this is it. These covers are all there is, but really, really good. Please, everybody pick this up.
Well, that's not all that came out this week, because we do have more of the Age of Revelation issue 1s. I think this is the last week of the issue 1s.
Yes, the last batch of number 1.
Yes. And some pretty interesting ones for this last week. We're going to start off with X-Vengers. My autocorrect still wrote X-Avengers,
really?
Even if I could correct it 100 times, and it still doesn't want to write Vengers as a word. So this is by Jason Liu, and Sergio Davila does the art. And this, like all of them, takes place X years in the future. And the mutant virus that has swept through, and we've seen all of the kind of implications of it through different people, it does not spare the superheroes as well. We've seen that now a lot of those have been taken out by this virus. It either, basically eliminates them or mutates them.
Yep.
And these are the ones that have been mutated. So we have Danny Moonstar. We've got Hawkeye, who now has 4 arms. I don't know what Danny...
No, 4 extra arms
4
for a total
extra
of
arms,
6.
6 arms, yeah. I'm not sure what Danny Moonstar's power change was. At one point, she does something that's like...
She psionically charges something?
And she psionically
Well, doesn't she have telepathic type powers anyway?
Yeah, it's kind of just like ramped up telepathic powers. We have Vision, who has been changed. We have what is now called Variable Man, which is your Hank Pym or Scott Lang, isn't it? Scott?
I think it's Hank Pym.
Is it Hank Pym?
I think.
Okay. Well, it's your giant man, Ant-Man, but there's some differences there. We have Water Widow, which is Natasha Romanoff, but with
Natasha Romanoff with Hydro Man's powers.
Yeah, that's
that's pretty much it.
Cannonball, which I'm not sure what changed about Cannonball. I guess.
Well, not everything changed with the mutants. Some of them were fine.
And Shang-Chi, which his powers are really cool.
Yeah.
It's just like super sensitive everything he touches basically breaks.
Yeah.
So you've got this group, and it seems like, it's kind of a ragtag group of like, we're just the ones left. That's why you've got Cannonball here and everything. A lot of this issue is kind of the Avengers now getting a bit of the heat that the X-Men used to get. People are blaming the Avengers for being some kind of like propaganda for mutants. And they're seeing it a lot, where before they were cheered for, the title X-Vengers is kind of like a slur that they use against them.
Yeah, because they don't call themselves the X-Vengers. They're still the Avengers, but somebody else calls them that in this, and they like take offense to that.
Yeah, but it's definitely a little bit, more difficult with all these changes. They're not all comfortable changes, especially for characters like Variable Man has been pretty messed up. But one day, and what a great time for them to do it, the Kree invade.
Yeah.
It's like, Kree, not right now. This
Yeah.
is not a good time. But you do see these X-Vengers in action, and it's really cool. That's where you really see how their new powers come into play. And we see that maybe they're being monitored by Revelation for some reason, because they're not necessarily against him at this point. They're kind of like, we're not on either side.
Yeah, they're not really planning.
They don't like what he's doing, but they don't seem outwardly hostile.
Kind of like Radioactive Spider-Man from a week or two ago. How he was like, he's not planning to go after Revelation. He's just trying to exist and get by. They're kind of doing the same thing.
But what is cool in this is you do get some backstory on how everything has changed, why Dani Moonstar has Captain America's shield, which is a great moment. She's not calling herself Captain America in this, but she has the shield, and you see that moment where that happened, and it's very kind of emotional and really cool. But most of this issue, I was like, okay, is this going to be about this Kree invasion? What's it going to be? But no, by the end, something happens, and you realize where, I guess, the next 2 issues will take us with something else that happens. And, our thing we talk about is, does this play into the overall story of the Age of Revelation? And is it, imperative that you read this? Doesn't seem necessary at the moment, but it's really hard to tell because, what the big threat in this book is going to be is only revealed basically in the last page.
Yeah.
And we don't even know what it means, really.
Or what even is it really? I don't know.
Yeah, we don't quite know. We just know, hey, something went bad, and that's going to be what they're dealing with. But overall, I thought this was really cool. I like seeing these, characters that are familiar but tweaked a little bit, but not in the, a way where they're unrecognizable.
Right.
It just feels like, the next stage of these characters that I thought was really fun. But yeah, I recommend this one just as a fun one, maybe not as a you've got to read for the overall story, but the characters are really cool. And I will be reading the next ones to see where this goes, because I thought it was a lot of fun. I think that's the best thing to say about this one. It was a fun book with a lot of action.
Yeah, like after the initial introduction and like the status quo, like figuring out where they're at now, when the Kree start invading, it actually kind of just feels like a standard Avengers book.
Yeah,
and I was like, hey, this is great.
Yeah,
this is more of an Avengers book than maybe the current run of Avengers is. So like,
yeah,
it's
they're out
cool.
in the city, fighting and
they're
stuff.
fighting
it's just
Kree
cool.
ships and Kree soldiers, and it's pretty neat.
Yeah. So there is your A cover. We've also got a couple of variants covers for this that are really nice. So we've got the Campania variant. You see what Vision's kind of like in this. We've got the Hepburn variant, which you kind of do see that moment. And I love this. This is the Villalobos variant.
Yeah, that's
which is
cool.
really nice. And then we have a 1 in 25 Greg Land variant. We're selling for $19.99. Also seeing Hawkeye fly a jet with like all his arms and stuff. Just looked really cool. I like that.
That was pretty neat. All right, so we're going to stick with the Age of Revelation stuff, and we're going to talk about Undeadpool #1. This is written by Tim Seeley, the artist by Carlos Magno, and this issue follows 4 young mutants, new characters. We've never seen them before, and they've been made mutants by the X virus, because that's what it does. It kills some people, it mutates other people. So these 4 young people are now mutants with powers, and they are trying to get to the flotilla that we will talk more about when it comes time to talk about Expatriate X-Men. But they're kind of traveling in secrecy, so they're sticking to back roads. They're traveling through the woods and things like that. And they do run into a little bit of trouble traveling this way, but with their powers and the fact that they actually work pretty well together as a team, they are able to handle this trouble no problem.
And they're kind of like super fans of the
Yeah, they're
characters as
fans
well.
of yeah. And but what they don't know is that they are being stalked by Deadpool, or rather Undeadpool, um, who has been radically altered by the X virus. Because of his healing factor, the virus can't kill him all the way, but it also can't mutate him all the way either. So he's kind of stuck in this like zombie like limbo state.
Yeah.
His mind is fully intact, which you will see because he never shuts up, just like
Yeah.
Deadpool. But it's all internal. Externally, his body is acting on its own, and it craves the life force of mutants. So kind of like a mutant zombie a little bit.
All, you know,
That's the way to think about it anyway.
He's a zombie, but with Deadpool riding inside his mind.
Yeah, basically. That's the best way to think about it. So, he's kind of stalking these mutant kids through the woods because if, that's what kind of, what a zombie would do, I
Yeah.
guess. If the zombie was in control of itself, that's what a zombie would do. Is it thirsts for brains and wants to eat brains, stuff like that. So I don't really want to tell you too much about what happens, so I don't spoil anything, but this is a pretty fun book. I'm not the biggest fan of Deadpool, but if you are a fan of Deadpool, then I think you'll like this. This doesn't seem like it will inject anything into the main Age of Revelation storyline, but yeah, if you're trying to figure out which ones to get, if you're a Deadpool fan, then maybe check this one out.
I'm really looking forward to the next issue because Cable's on the cover.
That's right.
And I want to see how all of that comes about. What's Cable's deal in this this version of the future and everything. So that's gonna be cool. And I do think the characters that we meet in here, the younger characters, are fun and they're likable.
Yeah.
Because they are kind of fans. They've kind of taken up the mantles of characters that they liked and have similar powers to. But yeah, this is kind of a slasher
kind of
story.
Yeah.
So
and it's a great time of year to read this book in particular as well. So it's pretty neat. So there's our A cover right there, and then we have this Yagawa variant. We have I really like this one. This is the Sorrentino variant. It kind of gives you an idea about what Undeadpool is like. And then this is the Declan Shalvey 1 in 25 variant that we're selling for $24.99, and that gives you a look at the other young characters that are in this book.
Deadpool in particular likes one of their names a lot.
Yeah.
And that's pretty fun. Okay, next up I have another one, and this was probably my favorite of the week, and it's up there on my favorite of the
favorite Age of Revelation.
Age of Revelation, yeah.
Yeah, and mine too. I really like this one.
But I think this one is really high up in the Age of Revelation of all the books we've gotten so far from the series. This is in my top. This is Cloak or Dagger #1. This is by Justina Ireland and Lorenzo Tometa with I want to point out Andrew Dahlhaus does the colors in it, which is a fantastic colorist that does the colors for like Brett Booth and a lot of he's a high level colorist, so it looks great. And this one is really interesting because I didn't know going into this. I knew that in these solicitations they were using the term Marvel Rivals a lot. They're like, for all you Marvel Rivals fans, you like playing as Cloak and Dagger. Well, here they are. And I kind of get it in this because their powers are very similar. Something has happened with the mutant virus that went through and made it where they cannot exist in the same place at the same time. They have to swap back and forth, basically kind of like teleport out and the other one teleports in, like you do in the game. So that's kind of the Marvel Rivals aspect of this. But in this, they are based in St. Louis, which is at the edge of the Revelation territories between kind of United States and the Revelation territories, like right along the river. And basically what they're doing is helping not really any recognizable characters, like just this group
And I think it's like a group of humans trying to get out of the Revelation territories
Yeah,
and
yeah,
into like a safe place.
yeah, it's not like they're working with, you know, Captain America or anything like that.
Yeah.
No, it's like they're very like boots on the ground,
Yeah.
helping humans escape the Revelation territories because of how dangerous it's become. Because they even talk about, I forgot what book they talk about it, but the virus is like moving at a very slow pace,
Yeah.
but it is moving, and they're trying to get people out of there before they get infected. So Cloak and Dagger work in tandem, switching back and forth, because Dagger definitely has like healing style powers. Cloak, of course, has can move people,
Yeah.
and they have really cool like team up ability they can
Yeah.
do as well.
And it's funny because, Marvel Rivals fans will understand the swapping.
Yeah,
But my old man brain went to the 70s when Rick Jones and Captain Marvel used to
yeah,
swap back and forth,
with the bands
It's the
and
same kind of
stuff.
thing, yeah.
But in this, they are helping some humans that are on a bus move across the territories when suddenly something happens. Some people show up and the bus disappears along with the humans that are in it. I don't want to say who the villains are because one, I had kind of had to look up like who they were
Yeah. I
and who
was
they're
like,
related to.
I was like, they said this. They're from something's familiar about
Yeah.
it, but I need to go look and see. I wasn't super sure, but I was like, I think I've heard that name before.
Yeah, so something happens, and Cloak and Dagger, although only one at a time,
Yeah.
go to investigate, and you'll have to read to see what they discover. But there's not a whole lot more to it than this, but there is a lot of action in it.
Yeah, and it's cool action.
It's
Like
just
I
cool,
love,
yeah.
I love seeing Dagger do what she's doing on the cover. She's throwing light darts, and what's really cool too is the switching back and forth. They seem to be able to kind of combine their own powers to
Yes.
form like new attacks and things like
That's
that.
what I was saying. One of them where Dagger opens his cloak, and
Yeah,
it's like, oh, this is like this
Yeah.
was like an ultimate you could do in one of the games.
Yeah, it's really neat. Like I was like, can we just have this in the regular Marvel
Yeah.
universe? Like I don't need this to be Age of Revelation. I just want to see this. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, so that was really cool. There is some cool mystery behind. We do see where the other goes when they swap
That's right,
out,
which is really interesting.
and it's like, whoa, there's a whole nother story there
That's right,
that
yeah.
could be explored in
Yeah.
future stuff.
Yeah, because like with Rick Jones and Captain Marvel, it's like, oh, the other one just goes floating through the negative zone.
Yeah.
But this is like, wait a second, there's more to learn about this,
Yeah, and I think this feels like this could be a way longer than 3 issue
Yes.
story.
Oh man, I wish it were.
And it makes me really just excited for more Cloak and Dagger. I hope that they continue this,
Yeah.
even this format of them switching out, because they can communicate with each other, kind of
like telepathically.
inside each other's minds.
They can say, and they can even kind of hear what the other one's doing, and they'll be like, "Do you need me to tag in?" And they're like, "No, I've got this one." So it's just,
yeah, they're kind of a tag team thing
it's
that's
cool,
just
man.
really cool. So this one, does it relate to the big story of Age of Revelation? No,
Not at all.
I think that's kind of the strong part of it. It feels like, even though with superpowers, Cloak and Dagger have always been street level characters.
Yeah.
They're like with Daredevil, with a lot of those characters. And it feels like they're doing this and doing kind of the best they can
Yeah.
at helping people. Even though they don't have big cosmic powers, they're working with what they've got.
Yeah, it doesn't feed into the main story at all. This book isn't going to change the trajectory of that story. It's just really good though. So like we do recommend it anyway. If you just want to read like a really cool book,
Yeah.
pick this one up. It's really neat.
Yeah, so I think, and don't sleep on it, because once big Marvel Rivals fans find out about it, I
Yeah.
think this is going to get bought up really
Yeah.
fast, because we really haven't had a Cloak and Dagger anything in a long time.
Yeah, we haven't seen them in a comic book in a good long while, and it's been even longer since they've had their own book. So
Yeah.
this is I was really surprised with how much I love this one.
Yeah, so definitely check this one out, Cloak or Dagger. Number one, this is your A cover. This one's interesting. So this is the Corin Howell variant, and it was talked about in the solicitation and stuff that they are married now.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't see that. Like, it's not really. It may be referenced briefly.
Yeah, they mention it real quick. I think she mentions her husband or something.
Yeah, she says my husband, but yeah, like this doesn't happen.
Right.
But I do wonder, because I think we will learn what happened when the virus hit them in like the next issue. So maybe we'll see this moment. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
We also have this David Nakayama variant. We've got this Ivan Talavera cover.
That's great.
That's really nice. And once again, this one now looks like Taylor Swift. So
Oh.
I'll have to say about that. I really like this Ricky Agawa variant. That one is great. And lastly, we have a 1 in 25 Fan Yang cover we're selling for $19.99. So yeah, this is definitely one of the ones that is in my current top 4 or 5 of the Age of Revelation books.
Yeah, and when they first announced that one, I was like, really? Cloak or Dagger for an Age of Revelation book? What's that all about? But after reading it, I was like, oh man,
yeah, it
I would love for that to continue on.
That it doesn't really matter as long as it's a good story.
As long as it's cool, yeah, it's really neat. Okay, we got one more for this week. This is Expatriate X-Men #1. This is written by Eve Ewing and the art is by Francesco Mortarino. And this issue focuses, you can see on the cover, Miss Marvel, Bronze, Melee, and a new character named Rift. And they are trying to rescue another new character.
Rift was new.
I looked him up on Comic Geeks and it said this was his first appearance. So I don't know 100%, but I think it's new. Yeah. And they're trying to rescue another new character named Lyrebird, Lyre Bird, Lyrebird, or is it Lyre Bird? I'm not sure.
It's Lyre because it's the instrument.
Lyrebird, yeah, okay. They're trying to rescue him from captivity in the Revelation territories, and the first several pages show them doing that, rescuing this character. But it's really cool, and Rift's powers make it extra interesting.
Yeah, it felt like, whoa, that's super
that's
awesome
a very useful thing to have. Yeah, it isn't a spoiler to tell you that they do rescue Lyrebird from captivity, and they do make it back to the flotilla, which we mentioned a minute ago. And the flotilla is this fleet of rebel ships, but not like big fancy ones, not like the Marauder during the Marauders, like Krakoa and stuff. It's like a ship full of like rundown like tugboats and things like that. And it's like they're like this big rebel group.
I think they're on the Mississippi.
The Mississippi River, yeah. And there's this fleet of ships, sailing down the river. This group of rebels, basically. And so they make it back to their boat, and then from here the story kind of switches to a discussion between these characters and Mystique. Talking about what to do with the knowledge that Lyrebird possesses, because he's been in captivity for a good while, and I think they mentioned one of his powers is like photographic memory kind of thing.
Yeah, like a perfect recall of stuff.
And they're like, oh, he probably knows important strategic information like maps of munition sites and locations of other captive mutants of interest and all that kind of stuff. And they're trying to figure out what to do, how to utilize that information. But maybe they're not all on the same page with what they want to do with this information. Some of them might have different goals in mind for Lyrebird. And I won't go into any more detail than that, but it's not like a, now let's all do this team. No, they're a little bit more disjointed than that. I thought this issue was pretty good. This is the stand-in for Exceptional X-Men.
Except for no Kitty Pryde.
There's no Kitty Pryde. That's right. Miss Marvel kind of fills that slot. And I haven't read any Exceptional X-Men, so I wasn't really familiar with some of these characters. I will tell you that Colossus not in this at all, and I was really disappointed because I love Colossus. So he's not in this. Everybody else is, except he's the only one not in it.
Mystique plays an interesting role in this. You see her on the cover there.
The rescue sequence was really cool at the beginning, and that lasted for several pages. Other than that, this probably won't inject much into the main Age of Revelation storyline, so you're probably okay to skip this one if you're trying to just get the main books. But if you have been reading Exceptional X-Men and you like these characters, then you want to pick this up. Rift's powers are really neat, though. What he can do is
it feels like you're lucky you're here now because this is exactly what we need.
Yeah. So here's our A cover right here, and then we got some variants. This is the Yagawa, Mystique Yagawa variant. This is the Kasara variant. Colossus is not anywhere to be found in this book at all.
It's called the bait and switch
That's
variant.
right. This is the full new variant. And then this is the Emma Lupacino 1 in 25 variant. They were selling for $19.99.
It makes me think Colossus has to play a bigger role in the future issues. He's on every cover.
He's on every cover, and he's not. Who's this?
I
don't know who.
Oh, that's Melee.
Oh, Melee, yeah. And then that's Rift without his helmet. We didn't see Rift with his helmet off in this, but he's right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, next up, getting out of the big two stuff into something kind of TV related, Supernatural #1. Of course, based on the TV show from a few years ago, fan favorite TV show. I watched it up until like season, I can't even remember if it was like around season 7, because I dropped off of like Smallville and Supernatural around the same time.
How do you drop off of Smallville?
When it started to get like after the Supergirl season,
yeah,
and then I watched some of the Justice League season, but then I wasn't as interested.
Oh man, that's my favorite TV show.
I know, yeah. I know. It just got a little cartoony.
You got to go back and watch it.
I know. Anyway, Supernatural. This is written by Greg Pak, and the art is by Eder Messias. And this takes place during between seasons 1 and 2. So this is still kind of on your Monster of the Week style storytelling, like season 1, but with some of the character development that we got towards the end of season 1, like Sam, and he's got these visions, and you know, we know more about what happened to their mother. At least we've seen it, but we don't know. They're still like trying to find the demon that took her and all of that. So Sam and Dean in this one are out on the open road. Although they don't have they had to get a different car, which is kind of sad because their car is like the big part of the show.
Am I correct in saying that it still kind of looked like?
It kind of looks like
what's the point of that?
Car. But as they've stopped somewhere, Sam has a vision, and we don't exactly. I guess his vision is what we see in the beginning of the issue, because we don't see like exactly what his view was of it. Even though later he asks like, "What did you see?" and he's like, "I didn't see this. I saw this."
He has the vision in the diner of some character that I don't know who it is. I've never watched Supernatural.
So what's interesting is he sees a vision of his mother, like burning on the ceiling. Yeah. Is
that a thing from the show?
That's from the show. Okay, that's a big part of the show. But what happens to another character in this that's like the crux of the issue also catches on fire.
Right.
So it was like, oh, he sees this, but he also says he saw the other person catch on fire.
It's a little close to home for him, I guess.
Yeah, it's a little like one for one. But as Dean is trying to weasel some more money off of Sam, and they're eating at this diner and stuff, Sam does say like, hey, I did see this vision. So they head to Michigan, where they do the fun stuff. They dress up, they get fake names.
They do that a lot.
Yeah, and it's they always have really goofy names that are like based on TV shows or whatever. And he always gives Sam the dumb name, and then he's the cool character. He'll say like Mork and Mindy or something like that. But they go to interview this lady and find out that her husband spontaneously combusted, and she doesn't seem too worked up about it. They're like, you're not to pry, but you seem oddly calm for someone whose husband just like blew up. And you do learn a little bit more about maybe why she's not too upset this happened. But as they dig deeper and deeper into this mystery, they do learn that there is more to it than, a guy just bursting into flames. It may have to do with spirits and demons and all of that as well. A lot of this issue too is set up for future stories in this, because there's a character that's introduced and a corporation that I don't remember if it was in the show or not, that does kind of work the supernatural into it as well. But if you're a fan of the show, you'll definitely want to check this out. It does have the vibes, like I said, of the season 1 or season 2 episode of a Monster of the Week or Ghost of the Week style story. So it doesn't have as much of the big connected story tissues later. And it's a little funny because it's like they've got this mystery of what happened to their mom, but if you watch the show, you know that whole story all the way to the end. But
no spoilers. I haven't watched it.
It was supernatural. Don't worry about it. It was the show, and the event is also a supernatural thing that happens. But this was fun. So definitely recommend for Supernatural fans. I don't think it's the easiest to get into if you've never watched Supernatural, but I don't really think that's the audience it's aiming for, the non-fan. So
Now, I will say, if you haven't watched the show, I've never seen even one episode, and I didn't understand like the little bits
yeah,
here, but I still understood the story, and I know like, oh, Dean and Sam, and they're supernatural ghost hunters, whatever,
yeah,
and I was still able to follow this particular story. The thing with the mom, I mean, they gave me enough context clues to understand,
yeah.
oh, something must have happened with her, but I didn't know it in as much detail. But you can still read
Yeah,
this.
this is before they found their dad, so
Right? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there's a weird conversation where it's like, "Don't tell dad. We haven't seen dad in a long time."
Yeah.
It's like, "Yeah, but don't tell him." Yeah, but that's there to kind of like get you in the headspace of exactly when this takes place, because their dad is Negan.
Jeffrey D. Morgan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here is your A cover for that. A lot of great covers for this one. We've got a couple of handsome boys right there. We've got Walker Texas Ranger and Soldier Boy
Yeah.
from The
Right. Right.
Boys. We've
Jason Teague from Smallville.
oh yeah,
He was the football coach, the assistant coach.
yep. We've got this Messias covered. That is your interior artist.
He was also Eric on Days of Our Lives, or so I heard.
I guess
I wouldn't know that for sure, but
wasn't. I thought he was on. Wasn't the guy who plays Sam on Seventh Heaven?
yeah. No, that's you're thinking of the other long-haired guy. No, it wasn't the same guy.
Okay. We've got the Cousins variant with kind of a fiery monster guy. We've got a blank cover with a ghost on it. You just can't
That's
see
right.
it.
Yep.
We've got a foil version of the Clayton Crane A cover. We've got a 1 in 10 Messias black and white cover for $10. We've got a 1 in 10 foil version of the photo cover. We're selling for $11.99. A couple of shiny boys. We've got a 1 in 20 virgin version of the Messias cover that we're selling for $14.99. You know, it's Dynamite, so we got a
Yep.
bunch of covers. And we've got a 1 in 30 Cousins cover that we're selling for $24.99.
All right. Well, we're gonna jump over to back to DC and want to talk about this Superman Red and Blue 2025 special. Now, this is it's a one shot. It's very similar to the Superman Red and Blue miniseries that came out a couple of years ago. This has 4 short one and done stories, all done in a red and blue kind of color scheme. And they're releasing this as a way to sort of put a bow on the summer of Superman, which this whole we had the movie and the publishing initiative at DC Comics this summer was all about the summer of Superman. We have we got Superman Unlimited, Superman Unlimited. We've had a great couple of Superman books as well. So this is kind of wrapping up that whole thing, and it's really really good. We have a story called Priceless, written by Paul Dini with art by Mirka Andolfo, where Superman travels to this really far away planet to get this extremely rare crystal to bail Supergirl out of some trouble that she got into on another planet, but it's not as easy to get that crystal as he thought it would be. My favorite story is the second one called, and I think it's the longest one too in the book. It's called All the Time in the World, and it's written and drawn by Michael Walsh. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Michael Walsh. And it's a beautiful story that actually kind of made me a little bit like somebody was cutting onions as I was reading this somewhere.
How dare they?
Which is weird because I was home alone when I read this. I don't know who's in there. But and basically it's just a day in the life of Superman, and it shows him trying to juggle being a husband and a parent and a reporter and a superhero all at once. And it shows that even though he has so much power, he still cannot do everything. And it just shows how much he cares about everybody, and the lengths that he will go to make sure everybody is taken care of. And it just kind of hits all the high notes of who Superman really is. Like if somebody, hey, I want to read a Superman. I've never read a Superman book, and I want to see like what kind of character he is. They can read that story. There's another story called Out of the Ordinary from Dan Abnett and Caitlin Yarsky. And this small town in Canada, which is actually for a minute I thought it would take place in Smallville.
Yeah.
It's that kind of town, but it's a town in Canada. They get attacked by these giant robots, and Superman stops them, and that's not really the point of the story. Afterwards, he gives an exclusive interview about himself to a local reporter, and she's actually very surprised to hear that he has an ordinary life outside of being Superman. And it's just a really nice story of them sitting in a diner together, and he's very cordial to her. And then my second favorite story is called Red Letter Days, written by Rainbow Rowell, and the art is by Cian Tormey. And it's actually a little bit more focused on Lois Lane, who I have, over the last few years, I have come to just love Lois
Yeah.
Lane, especially with how she's been written over the last few years from Joshua Williamson and Greg Rucka. Was it Greg Rucka
Yeah,
that
that
had
did the
that?
Lois
Yeah, the
series.
Lois series. Like, I love Lois. And it just kind of focus on her as she tries to focus on running the Daily Planet. So it's set in current day where she's editor in chief and Perry is the mayor. She's trying to do everything that the Daily Planet needs to do while Superman is off saving the world, and he's gone for a week or so, I think. And there's a really great scene near the end where the two of them work together as reporters to publish a big breaking story. It's kind of neat because Superman he just got back. He's still in his costume, but this story comes in, so he's on the phone as Clark, and the two of them are working together. And it's just really cool. It's a really cool story of Lois and then Clark, and but a couple of those different stories have just real. I love when we see how much of how great of a relationship the two of them have together,
Yeah.
and we get that in a couple different stories here. So just a really really good Superman book, one and done. You don't have to read anything else to read this. I didn't pre-order this, but I'm gonna buy it anyway, just because I loved it so much. So yeah, if you're just still riding high on Superman as we are, as we have been for the last couple of years, then definitely check this one out. So there's your A cover by Chris Samney, and then we have this is the Michael Walsh cover, and this is kind of what the whole book looks like. This sort of red and blue and white sort of
Yeah.
color scheme. It's really great.
Well, next up, I've got a new #1 from Ignition Press, but it may sound familiar. This is the Beauty #1. This was originally a series years ago at Image. They just re-released the volume, but now under Ignition Press because
So is it the same, the collected edition that we had a couple weeks ago? Is it the same that's in here, or is this a new?
this is a new story, but set within that universe.
Oh, but so that collected edition wasn't. I thought this was just like the same book.
No, no. So
Oh.
the collected edition and the Image series ran for I don't remember how many issues. It was really
Okay.
good, but it was quite a few years ago.
Yeah.
This
This
is
is all new stuff.
yeah, this is
Oh.
Jeremy Juan and Jason A. Hurley coming back to do a new volume of the Beauty, but now under Ignition Press. Also, because I think Jeremy Juan's one of the like people who started Ignition Press. I think
Hmm.
they talk about it in the back. The art in this is by Emmanuel Lupacchio, which is gorgeous. That was not the original artist on the previous series. And this is actually set 2 years before the previous series or the Image series or the trade or whatever you want to call it. And that way you can read this and not be too worried about um, you know continuity or anything like that. You can go in, and they do a great job at filling you in on everything that what the Beauty is about. They do that in the opening couple of pages.
So you can pick this up without reading the other one.
Right, and
Okay.
then it jumps 2 years back. But essentially, what this is about and what the first original volume was about is there is a new disease that is going around. It's an STD, but when you get it, your face slims up, you lose weight, your skin seems to kind of glow, like not like physically, but like oh that you did your makeup well or whatever. It essentially makes you beautiful. And it is suddenly highly desired that you contract this. The only drawback, at least they think for a little while, is you have a mild fever. But, it's worth the price of admission for a lot of people. Um, but they do tell you, and it happens in the original volume, that it is soon learned that after a while, people start spontaneously combusting who have this transmitted disease.
Which is funny because they talk about spontaneous combustion in the Supernatural
I know that's
book.
what was so weird. That was like, oh, we got two of those in one. And you actually see a scene that I think is from the original but redrawn of a girl on a bus who just like bursts into flames. And suddenly everybody who got it is now kind of worried about that. We learn also in there that a lot of like anti-beauty groups have risen up thinking like this isn't life is not all about being beautiful. But that all happens in the future. This takes place 2 years before the ramifications of all this are learned. And this is kind of two character stories in one, and we do see where they meet up at the very end. But one is this woman who is very beautiful, but we do suddenly see that she's maybe some kind of like secret agent working for someone. A lot of her story is like clouded in mystery. We just know that she is sneaking into places and people, it seems, who have the beauty, and they also have these big like computer consoles that she's stealing information from. We don't know what that information is, but on her assignment we see right at the beginning something goes horribly wrong on this assignment that cannot happen again. The other story that we see in here is this weatherman who is doing the weather, but suddenly the weather, his spot ends and he gets really upset, and he's like, the people from the network were just here and they stayed around and they left before my segment came on. What's the deal here?
So they didn't see him.
They didn't see him, and he thinks like they don't like me. There's two other. I think there's a weather person and someone else who work at another, maybe a different time slot, but on the same network or something like that. And he's like, they like them more because they're attractive. I think it kind of implied that maybe they have the beauty, and he's like, they don't want me because I'm ugly and all this. And so he is determined, I'm going to get this beauty as well, and goes to an old friend he has from high school who has throws these beauty parties where you go to contract this disease. But
I was wondering how they got in the first place. Yeah, okay.
but because of this, it's become a commodity, and it's like costs $1 million to go to this thing. But our weatherman might have some blackmail on this guy that can get him in. But we do know all of this comes to, this is not a good thing to have, and we'll see that kind of.
Well, yeah, you spontaneously convert.
But they don't know that. No one knows that at this point.
Okay.
That is only discovered about 2 years in the future from here.
After this?
Yes.
So this kind of takes place.
This is a prequel to the other one.
Oh, it's a prequel to the other one.
Yeah, but with different characters. This is all just set in that world. But this was so much fun. It's such an interesting concept. This is getting turned into a TV show coming up. Fairly soon. It's got all the people attached to it. They may have even started shooting it.
That's kind of like has vibes of. It's not the same thing, but vibes of. The Demi Moore movie, where the.
I just watched it. The Substance.
Yeah, I mean it's not the same thing, but it's like the cost of beauty and how far really are you willing to go to obtain that, you know?
What you go to obtain beauty, what privileges does that get you?
Yeah.
And what are the ramifications, consequences of having that? Needless to say, given subject matter, this is a mature title. But it feels like it has to be with its subject matter. But again, the art is beautiful. The colors in this are beautiful. And I'm, on board for this next wave of the beauty. So all that being said, you don't have to have read the previous run. You can start with number one. This is, not attached. I don't believe it has any of the same characters in it. This is a separate, really interesting story that is, builds off from here. So highly recommended. This is one of my top books of the week. Once again, by Ignition Press, who are doing awesome work.
Yep.
So here is your A cover. And this is kind of like they did this with the previous series. The covers are very like glam looking, but the people are basically like husks. They've got like black eyes and stuff, and that's kind of what happens to you also.
Oh, wow.
That's your A cover.
That doesn't sound beautiful.
No. And then we also have a Lupaccio variant. So that's your interior artist. And that's kind of your spy character. And this one's really interesting. This is the 1 in 5 tan variant. We're selling for $7.99. You see this very skeletal-looking character. This character is in here, and that's where the story gets really weird and really interesting, is with this character that we'll have to find out more in future issues. So don't sleep, like we've said, on the Ignition Press books, because so far they're batting 1,000.
Yeah, they have a really impressive library of books so far. Yep. Catalog of books. It's really neat.
I'll be talking about another one here in a second.
Well, we're going to go over to Marvel again and talk about Battleworld #2. Now, I liked this issue a lot more than I liked the first issue. I thought this was pretty darn good. On Battleworld, that's where this takes place. We found out who created Battleworld last issue. We still don't really know why,
Yeah.
but we know we know how it happened and who did it. But on Battleworld, Arcade is there, and he has taken Thor and Carol Danvers and Luke Cage prisoner, like the heavy hitters of the heroes that are on this Battleworld, and he's holding them in stasis in his own murder world, which is like under beneath the Arctic ice, which is where it was on Earth, which is how they knew to go look for it there. And most of this issue is the other heroes who are left. You've got Bucky, you've got Spider-Man, you've got Hank Pym, and the Wasp, and a couple others. Most of the issue is them trying to go rescue Thor and Carol Danvers and Luke Cage, and they mount this rescue. It's not a spoiler to say they do rescue them, and then there's like this big fight between the heroes and Arcade and some of his goons, and like in the traps that he has set up and all this stuff. And it's actually just really cool and action packed. One of the big things, and we'll show a look at a variant cover in a second. One of the big things about this is that the character Mystic from CrossGen is also in this. That was a big surprise last issue, and if you want to buy it, if you're a huge CrossGen fan, she's in it for like 2 panels, and that's it. So don't want to disappoint you there.
Does it seem like she's going to be in it more?
I don't even know. I think she had like one speaking part, so I wouldn't bank on it. But I mean, there's not much more to say. But I actually just thought this was pretty good, and I like the artwork. And it also has another very surprising ending. So yeah, I'm kind of on board to see like where this is all going. Now we do know it's got like those covers coming up with Venom, that weird like Spider-Man looking Venom. That's not in this, so I still don't know what that has to do with anything. But I don't know if that's eventually going to tie in with the Venom series or what. But yeah, it was pretty neat. I'm into it. But I just want to know like why are we doing this? Like what's the goal of this series? I'm not sure yet, but this was pretty fun read. So this is our A cover. We have this Nick Bradshaw connecting variant. None of these characters are in this, but well, wait a minute. Luke Cage is. It's not that Luke Cage, but still, yeah. None of the rest of them are there.
A much earlier Luke Cage.
Right. So here is your cross-gen Mystic cover.
I love they used the original logo for
Mystic. The box art and everything.
Yeah.
And all of this for her to be in it in 2 panels. For 2 panels. And then this is the Greg Land 1 in 25 variant. Hulk's not in this either. Wait a minute. Maestro was in the first issue, right? He wasn't in this one. Didn't something happen to him?
Maybe.
I don't remember. But yeah, there's a nice Greg Land. 1 in 25 we're selling for $19.99.
Well, next up, I've got another new #1. This is Return to Sleepy Hollow #1. This is a new miniseries set within the world of the Tim Burton Sleepy Hollow movie. But this takes place 15 years later. So this is by Casey Gilly and the art is by Savannah Mayer. And I'll say that like the characters, like this doesn't really look like Johnny Depp. It doesn't look as like gothic as the Tim Burton Sleepy Hollow movie, and you wouldn't even really know it's related to that if it isn't for some of the like promotional material for this, other than there's some familiar characters that are kind of ancillary characters in the original thing. But this is set 15 years after Ichabod Crane stopped the Headless Horseman in Sleepy Hollow and left the town in the hands of or kind of left the people he met there. Katrina Van Tassel, who was a key character in that. So 15 years later, we find out that Katrina has a daughter, and she's become a mortician in the town. So there's kind of a Tim Burton-esque feeling thing. But bodies have started appearing, and we see how one of them kind of happens. We don't see the culprit, but we see the woman who gets killed out in the woods. And it seems like some kind of supernatural circumstances, but apparently this has happened quite a few times, and Katrina, being the mortician, has also been called in to be almost like a CSI on the scene to check out what's going on. And she brings her daughter with her, and it seems like they both have the ability to kind of hear the dead. And I don't know if that's like a publicly known thing or people believe them. They kind of keep it to themselves. But it does seem like these are pretty restless spirits that they're hearing who are saying things of like that something's coming and free them and weird stuff like that. So it definitely does help them being in the position they are in the industry that they are. But because of some of these weird things, a call goes out to Ichabod Crane that, hey, some weird stuff is going on in Sleepy Hollow again, and it'd be great if you could come and help. Now, who sends that letter? You'll have to read it to find out because there's some stuff going on there. But he does decide to come, even though after all of the events of Sleepy Hollow, the Headless Horseman, all of that, he refuses to believe in the supernatural or the paranormal, and he's like, "This is all just the work of some killer, and it looks this way because of the folklore and the superstition of the area, but I can figure out exactly what's going on." But we do see towards the end what may be at play here. And, this isn't an action packed book, but it is setting up this story and this mystery and kind of you know, a quote unquote sequel, not involving the Headless Horseman, but something else that is going on in Sleepy Hollow. Just kind of like it's a cursed land where things happen. So I thought it was fun. Definitely, like, this is the art style of it. It's a little bit more um, illustrative and interesting there. Uh, but yeah, perfect for this time of year. It's a great spooky season book. And if you are a fan of Sleepy Hollow and that kind of aesthetic of fall and New England and all of that, it's really good for that as well. So yeah, it is, I guess, related to the Tim Burton Sleepy Hollow movie. Not necessarily really evident in it, but definitely has some of the tonal vibes
Yeah.
of that.
I like that movie. I watched it for the first time last October.
Yeah, I really
It
like
was
that
good,
movie,
yeah.
and it's mostly because of the look and the
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
of
yeah.
it. So there is your A cover. We also have this really nice Audrey Estuck variant with Ichabod. And we have this 1 in 15 retailer incentive Dave Martinez variant that we're selling for $9.99.
All right, I have got Thor #3, and I like this one just as much as the second issue. This was really cool. And this one, Sigurd Jarlson, who is Thor, but the mortal Thor, basically, who doesn't remember that he's Thor, he gets a job at a construction site. And you can see this actually, this book right, this cover right here is very representative of what happens in this issue. So he gets a job at a construction site, and the character who we saw at the end of the last issue, I don't want to spoil it for you in case you haven't seen it, but they learn of this and they want to take him out basically. So they send their goons because they're kind of, I don't know if they're the head of the Serpent Society or what. There's something with serpents, and they have these goons like all in these green uniforms with these helmets. But I'm not quite sure if it's a Serpent Society or not. But anyway, he sends these goons after Sigurd at the construction site, and a lot of this issue, just like the last issue, is this right here with Sigurd on the girders of a building being built. These steel girders, he's got his little hammer and it's on a rope and he's throwing his hammer and he's smashing guys in the face and he's pulling it back and he's throwing the hammer and it wraps itself around a girder and he swings down and kicks another guy.
Like
and
Daredevil.
yeah, and it's really really good. It's really action packed. It's really fun. And there's another surprise ending in this one as well. So
I guess I kind of thought those were Hydra agents.
I don't think they're, I don't know, maybe because they look like this. Are those Hydra? Is that Hydra?
Oh, I don't know. They've got very weird helmets.
Yeah, so I'm not 100% sure. I probably need to look at the end of the second issue again. But regardless, it's a bunch of goons, and Thor, who doesn't remember he's Thor with no powers, is fighting him with a hammer on a rope. And it's awesome. And that's pretty much it. Like, it's just a really fun comic book. That's all I want to say about it. So there's our A cover right there. And we have this really nice Ferreira cover, which looks really cool.
Marvel
That's
Zombies.
that's the Marvel Zombies variant. Yeah, he's all zombified there. And we have this Marvel Rivals variant with Jeff in a pumpkin costume.
Adorable.
Is that a skin in the game?
I think so. I think that's part of the Halloween event going on.
Nice.
Well, next up, want to briefly mention another Ignition Press book. This is Voyeur, issue number 2. This is probably my favorite book they put out so far. This is great by Leah Williams and David Baldion. And this time we see the events of issue number 1, but from the perspective of Miss Cabot, who seemed to be like not the victim in the first one, but your art thief, or your thief was, watching on the cameras, and in her room was this famous painting he was going to try and steal. And it seemed like maybe she was on to him, and then at the end we saw that, yeah, she does actually recognize him as a big, thief and a world-renowned thief, and maybe she is part of something like that as well. Well, in this one, we see the story from her perspective, and we see why she ended up at the resort. And she actually has a lot of baggage, not luggage,
Yeah,
but
you're right.
personal baggage, and another piece of luggage that you realize that she has been through a lot lately, and we don't know all the details about it, but we get through context kind of what's going on. But we do learn that she kind of is there to relax and clear her head and all of that. But we see the moments we saw in the first issue where she notices the cameras.
Yeah.
She asks about the painting in her room, because we learned that she also owns and operates an art gallery. But is this a front for something? We don't quite know, but
I thought it was, after hearing about it in the first issue. I thought that, she has an art gallery so that she can steal paintings too. I thought she was an art thief as well.
Yeah.
I might be wrong.
But we don't know, you're not going to put stolen paintings in your art gallery.
Right.
So what is this? But we learned that, she's pretty capable of taking care of business and everything. But we see that moment where she meets up with our thief from the first issue, and then what happens from there, and we learn a little bit more about how they're going to be working together. But this was a great issue, continues to be fantastic David Baldion art, and just a really cool kind of thief heist style story that we don't have a lot of.
Yeah, we don't, and it's very sexy and spicy, but also thievery and heist,
setting's cool, around tropical ocean. And I'm in to find out what happens and what they're gonna try to work together and do. And really fun issue.
I thought this was cool because I was like, oh, this is issue number 1, but from her perspective.
Yeah, it essentially is runs parallel, but it goes a little bit past where the first one does. But again, highly recommend. This is issue number 2, the A cover, and we have a B cover by David Baldion, your interior artist.
Right, I've got Disney Villains Maleficent number 1, and this is from Paulina Ganucheau, and the art is by Theo Stoltz. And in this book, Maleficent wants as much power as she can get. So she frees these 2 spirits from this ancient grimoire so that they can tell her how to get it. And they tell her that she's going to need to travel to the Fey realm and obtain 4 mystical objects in order to get the power that she seeks.
Quest.
Right, exactly. And so she sets off. So at the end of the book is when she sets off on this journey. And that's where the next issue is where the real story is really going to get going. This was basically her just wanting the power, opening up the grimoire, talking to these spirits and that kind of thing. That was kind of the setup for this quest that she's going to go on. But hasn't there been a Maleficent book before?
Yeah, that was a previous one.
And I know that we have a couple of movies and everything. I'm not necessarily in the target demographic for this kind of story, so I'm not quite up and up with what Disney's been doing with Maleficent over the last couple of years. Like I said, we got the movies and another comic series and stuff, but I know there's a lot of fans of that. So if you are one of those, then don't miss this issue. That's our A cover, and this is the Santos variant.
And next up, we've got another great holiday one-shot, a Halloween Dick Tracy Halloween Special number 1. And this is great. You can read this as a standalone Halloween story. This actually has 2 stories in it, but by Alex Segura, Michael Morrissey, Chantel Amy Osman, and the art is by Craig Cermak and Emiliana Pina. And This begins during a Halloween carnival where Flat Top, the gangster, shows up and attacks the place and targets a woman called Dewdrop Richie. And so, of course, Dick Tracy is brought in to figure out what's going on. But something else weird happens. While a kid is out on the pier, he's being chased by this guy because this kid was begging for food, and this guy's like, "Get out of my place." He runs into what he thinks is Dick Tracy until he turns around and it's a zombified Dick Tracy.
Yeah. It's
It's on the back of the
yeah, it's this guy right here.
I think that's the actual panel.
Yeah.
Where he turns around. So that's pretty interesting. So what is this all about? Was that really Flat Top that showed up, or is someone, dressing up into costumes to make other people look bad?
It's like the chameleon from Spider-Man.
Yeah. So you'll have to read that to find out, but that was really fun. And there's also a second story in here that involves witches and stuff. So if you're a Dick Tracy fan or you're looking for a fun detective Halloween book, that forever popular genre, Halloween detective, don't miss out on the Dick Tracy Halloween special.
Halloween detective is a genre. I like that.
Yeah. It's over there in the corner of the bookstore. You can't miss it. So there is your A cover. And we also have this Sue Lee variant.
All right, I've got Black Cat number 3, and this continues to be a pretty fun series. In this one, Black Cat gets word about a truck smuggling some illegal goods into New Jersey, and so she's a hero now, right?
Yep.
So she's gonna head out there and try to shut it down, or track it to its destination, which she does. But just like the last issue with Daredevil, in this issue, another hero gets in the way of what she's trying to do. And there's this whole kind of like subplot with the encounter that she had with Daredevil last issue sort of put her in the media spotlight. The Threats and Menaces website, which is kind of like J. Jonah Jameson, but also TMZ. It's like he's running TMZ kind of. They sort of framed it as Black Cat and Daredevil being in a romantic relationship, which is bad for her because it puts her on the radar of every villain in the city, which makes her superheroing job much harder.
Mm-hmm.
She's trying to be a little bit more low key about being a hero, but now she's in the spotlight. So now every villain, and that's a lot of Spider-Man villains, they know what she's out trying to do, so they know to be a little bit more wary of her. So that's going to kind of throw a wrench in the works for her. But yeah, it's been a fun issue so far, or a fun series so far, and this one was cool too.
Again, it kind of feels like a Spider-Man series, but with Black Cat.
Yeah, it feels this is what a Spider-Man book would be just a few years ago.
Yeah,
and now it's Black Cat instead. So this is our A cover right here,
and there's some Sandman in it.
That's
it's on the background of that one.
Oh yeah. And Sandman,
I love Sandman.
I love Sandman too. We have this Guru Hiru Stormbreakers variant. We have this really nice Hachi variant. I like that one a lot. This is the Marvel Rivals Namor various skin variant.
That's what you get when you don't have Black Cat in your game. You got to put someone else on the cover, and Namor got on a Black Cat cover.
Why not? This is the 1 in 25 Dr. Wan cover that we're selling for $19.99.
Oh, it's really nice.
Yep. And then this is the 1 in 50 Lucas Wernick Virgin cover that we're selling for $74.99. And holy cow, that's
awesome.
Gorgeous.
Well, another series that I'm really enjoying is all new Spider-Gwen, the Ghost Spider. This is issue number 3, and I feel like this is the best issue of the series so far, because this is when it kind of like kicks into drive with this whole story they've been setting up. So Gwen and Black Tarantula, at the end of the previous issue, it came face to face with this killer that actually killed like one of the members of Gwen's band and all of that. And we've seen this kind of monstrous thing. Well, they come face to face with it and start fighting it. And the crazy thing is, Gwen just can't get a hit in on it. It seems to know every move she's making. But the Black Tarantula, Fabian, her somewhat boyfriend, seems to have no problem getting in hits on it. So why does this thing know Gwen's move so well? It's pretty obvious, but it's still a really fun idea in here. This also stars Agent Anti-Venom Flash Thompson, which is another really cool addition to this series that I
Yeah.
kind of hope they team up for a
Yeah, I
while.
liked him in this.
But I thought this was great. Look at this homage cover as well.
Lots
But
of action. Yeah.
lots of action in this. It's still a pretty dark series for a character that we think of as kind of a bright and hopeful character. She's going through a lot in here, but I thought this was a blast, and I still really, really like this new Spider-Gwen series. So here is your A cover. Once again, great homage to classic McFarlane Spider-Man cover. We've got a Marvel Rivals variant. Another Halloween variant. We've got this really nice Corn Howl variant. And we've got a 1 in 25 Villa variant that we're selling for $24.99.
That's really cool.
But I kind of like it might be setting up on maybe Gwen's equivalent of Venom.
Maybe.
So
yeah, I'd be into that. Okay, so now it is time for what we lovingly call the Speed Force round. We talked about all of the really, really big books that we wanted to talk about, but there's still a few more that we want to just briefly mention real quick, just to let you know that they are coming out this week. And I'm going to start off with Imperial #4. This is the final issue of this series. There is this huge space battle that involves basically everyone. I was a little bit confused as to what was going on because there's so many different factions and there's double crosses and backstabbing and that kind of thing. So a little bit confused, but it does set up the new status quo for the cosmic side of the Marvel Universe. And we know we have some new cosmic titles coming very soon. So if you've been buying Imperial, don't miss the very last issue of the series. And then we just wanted to show off real quick this really cool 1 in 25 Logan Libera variant that we're selling for $12.99.
Well, I've got Star Wars Boba Fett, Black, White, and Red #2. This issue is by Saladin Ahmed and Ramon Rosanas. And in this, Boba Fett hunts a person who is known for being very slippery and being able to get out of any situation. They're fast. They're really good at covering their tracks. So, are they so good that Boba Fett can't catch them? You'll have to read to find out. Probably not. But I thought this was a really fun one as well.
We also have Death of the Silver Surfer #5. This is the last issue of this series. And the big winner here is MCU Synergy because, you can just take a look at the cover and figure out kind of what happens in this book. So if you've been reading this 5-issue series, this is the last issue.
Here's a really interesting one. This is Star Wars Dr. Aphra, Chaos Agent #5. And this is a surprise because I believe this is the final issue of the series. This was touted as a new ongoing. There was talks that the first volume would collect 10 issues, all of that. This ends with End. And looking online, there is no solicitations for issue #6. So is this the final issue of Dr. Aphra? At least for now, it appears so. So
maybe they're taking a break or something?
Yeah, if you're reading the series, don't miss out on this one because it ends on a very interesting note because we meet Aphra's sister. So that's a big thing to leave off on. But there you go.
The first appearance?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, we also have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2025 annual as well. The Turtles all share stories about their time when they were all separated from each other, but most of the book is Leonardo's story, which is really action-packed and also pretty tragic as well. So if you've been reading the current run of Ninja Turtles for the last year or so, then add this one to that collection.
We also have a new Cult of the Lamb one-shot. This Cult of the Lamb Schism special. This follows up on the previous mini-series. So if you're a fan of the game, this is also written by Alex Packnadal with art by Troy Little and continues some of the story that was set up in the previous one. I know a lot of people are really excited about this.
And then last, we just want to mention real quick is the second printing of Deadpool Batman that came out a few weeks back, the one that's published by Marvel. But this cover has Logo, the Logan and Lobo mashup. He's right there front and center on the cover, and I believe this is new artwork, isn't it? Or is that a page from the book?
I think that's new art, if I'm not.
From Ryan Stegman. So yeah, it's all the other same stuff, but just want to show you that Logo is now on the cover.
And I got two more briefly to show. We've got Marvel Rivals King and Black #1. This is your next compilation of the Marvel Unlimited Marvel Rivals series. It's a lot of Marvel in one. But this one covers the kind of King in Black arc that the game did. So if you're a fan of the game, don't miss out on that one.
And yes, this is not a panel from the book.
Yeah.
This is an actual cover.
And lastly, wanted to show off Barbaric, the Black Knight #1. This is a really fun one-shot set within the Barbaric universe. This one's by Michael Morrissey, the creator of Barbaric, and Guy Balbi does the art. And it's just a fun bonus story if you've been reading the series. I don't know how easily accessible it would be if you weren't reading it. But this time, the flail is the weapon that talks in this. But he's not bloodthirsty like the action or anything. He actually says, just toss me in a river. I'm tired of all of this.
Okay.
Which I really like. I really like this weapon in this one. So if you're a fan of the Barbaric series, don't miss out on another really fun one shot.
Yeah, Barbaric's great.
And that is it for our early comic review video. Like we said, 5th Wednesday of the month, but there are still some awesome books that are coming out. So don't sleep this whole extra week away.
Yeah.
Head over to infinityflux.net right now where you can order these books while supplies last. And like we always say, that's very important because these variants, incentives, and some of the hot books this week will not last long. So get it while the supplies are good. And you'll be all set for Wednesday when these officially release. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our comic content. And join us on Wednesday for our Comics in a Flash, where we'll be talking about some of the books that you can pre-order by this weekend. So until then,
see ya.
Bye.